A round of applause for Mr. Christopher David. Okay, thank you,
Hello guys. I'm again Toph. So I'm from VR Philippines. I've been doing virtual reality and augmented reality for the past 2 years. So I run the local virtual reality community in the Philippines, and I also have started developing content for virtual reality and augmented reality. So before we take a quick look at the new Zenfone AR, let's just take a look at the technology in general. So what is AR VR? So most likely a lot of you have heard about AR and VR before. So it's been really one of the exciting emerging technologies for the past couple of years. And yeah, there's been a lot of hype about it. So first of all, let's just clear some misconceptions, and let's define the difference between the two. So because there's a lot of people asking like what's the difference between AR and VR, which is gonna win, and then there's other companies like stating there's aside from AR VR, there's MR, there's XR, there's RR. So there's a lot of misconceptions right now about VR. So if you don't have a good idea about what AR VR is, in a nutshell, basically VR is technology that brings you to anywhere, and AR is the technology that brings anything to you. So I think that's the most apt description I can give about AR VR. Again, AR is the technology that can bring anything to you, and VR is the technology that can bring you anywhere. So they're not really that different technologies right now. Due to limitations of current technology, they're very different implementations. But according to Google, they're just two different points on the spectrum called the spectrum of immersive computing. And it's not really about the difference between the two, but really what's exciting is the concept of immersive computing, because it's going to change the way we interact with computers, with data, with information, and basically with everyone, with the world around us. So immersive computing, basically, it's making computing that works more like we do. So because we as humans, computers have been a part of our daily lives, but until now, computers don't really understand the world around it. It's just don't really understand the world beyond the cell phone screens, the smartphone screens, and the computer screens. So what Google wants to do is make computers work like humans do, and it's going to be big. It's going to be revolutionary. It's going to change the way we work, the way we play, the way we learn, and the way we do anything actually. So that's actually the goal of VR AR for Google. So for the ASUS Zenfone AR, it's really remarkable because it's the first smartphone in the world that implements Google's both technologies for AR and VR, which is Google Tango and Google Daydream. So let's first take a look at. So just a couple of details about the Zenfone AR. So it's equipped actually with a Tricam system. So first, of course, the 23 megapixel camera to take really gorgeous pictures. Then for the Tango, Tango has its own hardware. So there's actually a separate motion tracking camera for the device to know to understand motion. And also there's the depth perception camera so that the world can understand shapes and the objects around it. So let's first take a look at Tango. So Tango is not really augmented reality platform per se, but it's actually a building block. It's an enabler for actually both VR and AR. But for augmented reality, this is the building block that is actually important for implementing Google's AR ambitions. So basically, the goal of Tango is to they're really smart, but until today, they're just blocks. They don't understand what's happening beyond their physical hardware. But they should, because it's becoming more and more integrated with our daily lives. So they should also know what's happening around them. They should understand the space and the motion within the smartphones. So that's the goal of Tango, to enable these devices to understand space and motion more like humans do. So for Google Tango, there's these three main components, main three technologies that makes Tango really unique and makes it enable different kinds of technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality. So let's just take a quick look at each of them. So first, motion tracking. Oops. Sorry. Okay. So motion tracking. Motion tracking basically lets the device know its orientation and position in 3D space. So if you're familiar with smartphone sensors, of course we have the accelerometer and gyroscope to detect the phone's rotation. But we don't really, there's really no way before to have the smartphone know where exactly it is in 3D space. So with the Google Tango's motion tracking capabilities, the phone knows where exactly it is in 3D space. So even if you move around, walk around, it knows exactly where you are. So it also has what we call area learning capability. So it just doesn't know where it is. It understands the environment it is in. So it knows where it is. It understands what objects are around it. It understands if the object has been there before. So that's really what's amazing about area learning. And then lastly, there's depth perception. So depth perception allows the device to understand the objects around it, to understand the objects that are near it, the distance between the objects, the shapes of the objects, and the size of the objects. So I'm going to show that more in a demo later. Let's proceed to Daydream. So Daydream, on the other hand, is Google's technology for virtual reality. So if you've been following Google, you've probably heard about the Google Cardboard. So the Google Cardboard is Google's mainstream and accessible way for virtual reality to reach the mainstream. But it's not really, it's really a bit far from what really VR should be. So they started this new initiative called the Google Daydream. So the Google Daydream is Google's solution for high-end mobile virtual reality. So, and they have what we call the Google Daydream View. So this is it. So the Daydream View is Google's virtual reality headset. So as you can see, compared to other headsets, it's much more comfortable. It's made of fabric as compared to the usual plastic kind. So it's really light and it's really comfortable. And you can actually wear it for a long period of time, for hours and hours. And compared to other virtual reality headset, it actually has its own controller. So and it can also detect its rotation. So you can use it as a pointer, and you can use it to represent different objects inside the 3D space, and it allows you to interact with the 3D environment inside VR. Let's take a look at some of the applications for Daydream there. That's Daydream. So actually just gonna show a demo for you to understand more. Of course you're gonna be able to try it then later, but just gonna show some demo applications for the Tango. Actually earlier we've had the workshop for the upcoming hackathon, and I'm just gonna show you what we were able to come up to demo the capabilities of Tango during the short workshop earlier. So this is actually a very simple application for Tango that we did, just a sample we did for the workshop earlier. So it's an augmented reality app. So it showcases the Tango's depth perception capability. So it knows, it understands the objects around it, it understands the world around it. So if I click here, and it can spawn a cat in the nearest surface. So it understands surfaces, it understands objects. So if I spawn it on the floor, it puts it on the floor. If I click on the table, it spawns it on the table. So it knows, it understands the world like humans do. It understands it in a 3D way, not just so like if you played Pokemon Go, that's not really that immersive in terms of augmented reality, because it's just an overlay. For this, it actually understands the world in 3D. So it's actually just a simple application. So this is like what we did earlier, like 15 minutes, just to showcase how easy it is to develop for Tango. So it's really exciting to see what the developers are going to accomplish in the 48 hours next week. So let's just show some more applications. Another simple application. So this is another cool simple application. So this is called Measure. So not only does it understand the world around it, it knows it, it understands it well, it understands it with actual scale. So you can actually use it to measure roofs. And so it actually has a real life scale as well. Let's change to another application. Last one. Okay. Okay. So this is one of my favorite apps for the Tango. So as I said, aside from just depth perception, it also learns about the environment. It knows the entire scale of the 3D space. So if we look around, you can see it understands the depth of the environment. So it can actually scan the entire room in 3D, and it can record the entire room in 3D. So that's not something that you could do with just a smartphone before. So before to do this kind of application, you need very high-end cameras. Okay, so as you can see, just a quick rendering. We were able to scan a reconstruction of the 3D environment. So if you have something like that, you can, if you want, let's say you want to make plans, or you want to make plans for your home, you can actually reconstruct it in 3D and maybe create a 3D model of it and let an architect or an interior designer play with it. So there's really a lot of applications for the Google Tango. So next, let's take a look at the Google Daydream. So as you can see, the Google Daydreams comes with the controllers. You actually have something that you can interact naturally with a virtual environment. Okay, let me just wear it. Okay. Oops. So actually, with the Daydream, with the Google Daydream, as you can see, you can view the entire. There's an entire app ecosystem inside the Daydream itself. So unlike with the Google Cardboard, that you have to download everything in the Play Store and then run it and then put it on the cardboard, and then if you want to change apps, you take it out and select another app. With the Google Daydream, you can do everything inside of Daydream without ever removing the phone from the headset. So there's actually a version of the Play Store inside, so you can view and download and purchase apps inside VR. So this is the Play Store in VR, if you can see it properly. Okay, so I turned off my data. So okay, let's just take a look at some apps. So so let's take a look at one of the games for it. So it's a bit slow because I'm just streaming it from the smartphone to the laptop, but right now not yet. But we're exploring it. Thanks to
Yes.
Do you think the development time is worth it? I say right now there's only 2 Tango phones. There's the Lenovo Fab and the Lenovo Fab and this one. And I tried the Lenovo Fab. It's really slow, really slow. This is Snapdragon 652, 653. This is 821, so it's a little better. Do you think that there's really a future in developing apps for Tango? Because as far as I see, it's really a very niche. So there's niche there's very, very niche because there's only 2 phones for it.
Yep.
So, what
So-
do you think? Have you seen the SDKs from Google? Is it
Yeah, we actually use it.
significantly harder to make a Tango application compared to like a Daydream VR app from your experience?
So actually, only had like less than a week to explore the Tango, but actually development has been great. Like it's really easy to get into. But in terms of your question, so right now actually, Google is really positioning Tango as a building block, not just a platform for AR. It's
Okay.
more of a building block for both AR and VR. So right now, the problems for AR and VR is a content, and
Yeah.
it's like a cat and mouse. It's like a chicken and egg problem.
Chicken and egg.
Yeah, I mean, there's no users, but there's no content. There's no content because there's no users. So yeah, so I think that's why I think initiatives such as the hackathon is really great because it solves the issues of very few content for VR. So so hackathons like that can help push development for this kind of technologies. And in terms of Tango, it's still even though it's already 3 years of development, still really early stages in terms of adoption. So I really believe that there's going to be more devices that will adopt Tango in the future. And actually, the original goal of Google is not really just for smartphones. They actually they want devices to understand the world more like humans do. So it's not just smartphones. I mean, that's for the future of Tango technology itself. So, that's really.
Sorry, let's move on to Daydream. Is it Daydream? There's like VR apps before, right? So they run cardboard and everything. But Daydream is a little different because the hardware requirements for Daydream is higher. Yeah. So is it more like when it comes to actually developing apps? Is it a big jump to go from developing apps for cardboard, which is you just need your phone, to actually do Daydream, which now requires a controller, just any controller that can actually tilt, yaw. Kasi I tested one of the apps that actually for speed ata yun, yung pinakamahal nila na apps, like almost 1,000 pesos for a mobile game, which basically you control the car using wow. Really, sir, APK.
Triple A, di ka meron ako sa USB. May hard drive.
Okay, so basically
Sorry.
you have like more variables to say. So you need to know the position of the controller, how like XYZ for controller, also for headset. So how long is it to make an app, a workable app with the Daydream platform?
Those developers partner with VR Philippines in terms of app development towards Tango and also for Daydream. So that's one of our, and we have already spoken with Sir George, and that's one of our missions that we have to really materialize as part of our post-execution. Because you'll never know, maybe Zenfone 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 will be AR.
Confirmed.
Yes,
Nobody knows. Again, nobody knows. Again, this is only...
Guys, apart from the local, what Mike mentioned, I think there's also opportunity. I think there are very limited apps being developed on Daydream and Tango. So, what the team is also aiming is to sustain it in a sense that we can endorse to our headquarters. If they wanted to further promote it, there are Filipino talents here that started this kind of development. You might see opportunity, not even in the next 2 years, 3 years, maybe in the next 10 years, you see this as something that you want to further develop. So that's what we're eyeing for this one. We don't just stop with the event and introducing the phone, but rather we empower the young generation who are future app developers. Very PR yung pagkakasabi.
Yes. And that's actually exploration is all about.
And that's how it.
One last thing. So since Google doesn't officially sell that thing, where do you get yours to test?
Google. Actually, just also were able to try development for it last week. Curtis actually borrowed it from Google. They have one for demo, but they don't have one for sale.
Yes. Also,
one of this is from Google Philippines.
yes, and also we had a meeting. Lauren and I had a meeting with Google Philippines and with the Google Developers Group, and they're pretty much very excited and happy to support ASUS in terms of the hackathon event.
I really hope Google starts selling it because like there goes half of your marketing material for the AR.
Yeah.
if they don't sell it.
We can only speak on behalf of ASUS, but definitely I think this is subject that we can always raise to Google. No?
Yes.
These are very valid points coming. The reason why we gathered everyone here is to get these insights, digest it further, recommend to Google Philippines first, or even escalate to global, to ASUS global. Because it's really a valid point. What John talked to me a while ago was really a valid point. How can you even use the AR if there is no freaking goggles to use it? That's one of the main key points. Don't call it now Zenfone AR and VR ready. Just call it AR if you don't have it. So those are very, very valid points that we will be collecting. We'll share that to our counterparts and of course Google Philippines, so that they can reconsider. But I do feel this kind of an event will be a springboard for Google to reconsider selling. If the reception will be really nice until they know the price, well and good.
Again, the price will be launched on the event,
And it will be
November 24th.
closed by the country manager.
Not latency inside the headset itself is actually unbelievably low. So it's actually less than 20 milliseconds. So you really won't feel any lag. So because with cardboard, the cardboard is actually around 60 millisecond lag. So you really you will feel motion sickness. But with the Google Daydream, it is less than 20 milliseconds. So there's really not much delay between the moment you turn your head and the moment the graphics updates inside. So here's a sample game. So it's called Hunter's Gate. So with the smartphones, with the Zenfone ARs, really big screen, can really have a huge field of view inside Daydream. Okay. So the cool thing about this, so when you've probably seen virtual reality games, you've most likely seen first person games. So but the cool thing about this, it perfectly shows how even a third person game can look and play amazing in VR. So it's third person, but it still plays well and still looks good in VR. Okay, so let's just look at the gameplay of it. Yeah, so I can use the controller, the thumb pad, to move around. I can use the pointer to shoot at enemies.
The frame rate is fine. It's the Wi-Fi connection.
So if you will be able to try it later, it's actually really fast. So there's less than 20 millisecond latency, which is the requirement for VR. But the lag is just due to the streaming to the laptop.
They haven't solved that.
Okay, so that's gaming in Daydream. So let's look at other applications for Daydream.
Like that. The only thing you can do is increase your Wi-Fi
So one of my favorite apps for Daydream is actually the YouTube app. So you can watch the thousands of 360-degree video content on YouTube, all inside VR. You don't need to put it out and put the phone back in. And you can actually watch any video, even regular 2D videos, like you're watching on a giant 2D screen. So it's really what's cool about YouTube and VR.
I saw a question. I saw a question. Okay, so Google said Daydream, they're developing the UI so you can navigate between apps and whatnot. Has there been any developments in how you can navigate through apps? Because so far, some of these can be reproduced in a cardboard app, right? Except for obviously the wireless pointer. Has there been developments towards Google customizations to go beyond what cardboard is doing?
Okay. So with the Google Cardboard, it's actually per app. Yeah, it uses the Google Cardboard SDK, Google VR SDK, to create virtual reality apps. But the problem before is actually there's hidden beneath Android. There's really not the Android is not really optimized for VR. That's before. But for the Google Daydream, they actually created a version of Android for Daydream. So you can receive notifications inside VR. You can modify settings within VR. So a lot of those kinds of optimizations that to make VR better basically in Android and put a lot of the work you do in regular smartphones inside VR. But the problem is, regular smartphones or existing smartphones are not really powerful enough for that kind of high-end mobile VR. That's why right now there's still a bit of a lag in terms of deployment or in terms of adoption for virtual reality. So right now, there's only been several phones that have adapted the Google Daydream, and I think the Zenfone AR is the first to have both the Google Tango and the Google Daydream. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we can also have access to a lot of Google's first-party apps have actually versions in the Google Daydream. So Google Photos, YouTube, VR, you can all utilize or play a version of those inside VR. It's really, all of them are really well made. So as you can see with this, I can view 3D 360 photos inside Google Photos. It's really cool. So that's Daydream. So I guess you can actually try both the Tango apps and the Daydream apps after this. So, but for now that's it. So do you have time for questions now or after now?
It's actually done.